So if we have multiple catch blocks, the here whenever exception is generated, automatically Java runtime environment creates an object of type that of particular type, and it will throw an exception internally, and that throw is followed by new and type of exception, and that type should match with this type, arithmetic exception or index out of bound exception. So it will first try from first catch block, and the most perfect or the first one which is matching with the type of exception, that catch block will get executed. We have seen that instead of arithmetic exception, here if this is arithmetic exception and this is exception, note that exception is superclass of all exception classes or subclasses. So exception class or object of type exception will match with any type of exception. So whenever you are not sure which is the type of exception, whether it is index out of bound, array index out of bound, null pointer, or divide by zero, or arithmetic, or you didn't know what is the class for that particular exception, you can directly use exception E in catch block. But note that that catch block should come at the end, because compiler try to match from the first catch block like this. So this is how compiler starts matching. In some cases, more than one exception could be raised by a single piece of code. To handle this type of situation, we can specify two or more catch clauses, each catching a different type of exception. When exception is thrown, each catch statement is inspected in order from try block. And the first one whose type matches of that exception is executed. After one catch statement is executed, the others are bypassed and execution continues after try catch block. Note that if value of a is 0, and if this line cause an exception, control will move to this catch block. This line will get executed. It will not come back and execute these two lines. These two lines will not get executed if there is exception at this point. And after this block, control will go after try and catch block. You'll get the output like divide by 0, a is equal to 0, divide by 0, and after try catch block. If value of a is 1, then these three statements will be executed, and for this statement, compiler will generate an exception. Control will move to this catch block. It will print a is equal to say 1 or 2, and here then it will print array index out of bound, and then it will print after try and catch block. Is it clear how compiler handles multiple catch blocks? Next topic is nested try and catch blocks.
Ma'am, I had a doubt.
Yes.
Now, what is null point exception or null pointer exception?
Let me stop sharing the screen. So you know how to create array, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So in this example only, I'll explain you. If we create an array and array of objects, suppose, and we have not initialized the memory to that array. How to create array? Suppose I have to create integer array, integer a of, and we create is equal to new integer, right? And we specify size. But instead of specifying size, this line is excluded. If I have not allocated the memory, I have just created integer a of, like we create in C or C++, and instead of a, I'll write arr, and if I try to allocate some value to this arr of 0 is equal to 10. Note that memory is not allocated, and I am trying to store some value at that location. So it will cause an error. Might not initialize. Or if I have an object, here suppose I am creating a class box, integer height width, and say constructor which will initialize this height and width to 10. just for an example, and I have to create array of boxes. Box array is equal to box array is equal to new box of size say 3. I want to create array of boxes of size 3, and this will not create an array. This is just, it will create array of references, and for each reference I have to allocate a memory. And if I create an object of box b1 is equal to new box, and I want to allocate this object at this location in this array, ba of 0 is equal to b1. Just concentrate on these 3 lines. What we have done here, we have created a class box, and I have created an array of size 3, and this is not the complete array definition. Here we are just creating 3 references for the objects. For every object I have to allocate a memory, but I have skipped that step. I have created one more object of box, and I am going to put this object at this location, p of 0. So syntactically it may look correct, but it is wrong. If we try to visualize this, and we have not cannot find symbol. So note that there is no compilation error. Program started executing your code. So it has created, see, BA is array of objects. It has created 3 references. Automatically they are initialized to null. Memory is not allocated to each of the references. Then we are creating one object B1 with height and width 10, 10. This object is created, and we want to allocate this object here at this location. But here it will cause an exception. If we try to refer another location, if you try to call any method, suppose I'll say here display method, with the object which is not initialized by, memory is not allocated for that particular object. Normally for arrays it happens. H. So I want to call this display function with the, when we call it with b of 0, it will not cause any error, ba of 0, because memory is allocated for ba of 0 display. But for ba of 1, if you call display function, you have not allocated any object at ba of 1. So for this line, it will cause null pointer exception. So you are calling a display function, but you have not assigned any object to that particular array. First object is created, and it is, this is b1 object, and you are storing this b1 object in box array 0th location. So 0th location is pointing something. Memory is allocated for 0th location, but for first and second location they are still nil. So when you call display function for b1, it's displaying height and width 10. Now see here, the control is at line number 23, ba1 dot display is getting executed, and this two red line means Java language null pointer exception, and we have not handled this exception in our code, so it will come out of this program directly. Next is not enabled here. Program has stopped its execution due to this exception.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Now, if you want to handle this exception, you have to put these lines ba of I in try and catch block, and you have to add here one more catch block, null pointer exception. So now let's start with nested try catch block. Like we have seen how we got for two-dimensional array, we use nested for loops. You might have used nested if statements, if, and then you're matching else, or for three-dimensional arrays. Similarly, we can have nested try statements, try inside a try. So the try statement can be nested. That is, the try statement can be inside a block of another try. So each time a try statement is entered, the context of that exception is pushed on the stack. Now you know the concept of stack, right? So in outermost try, then inner try, then inner try. So if we have three try statements, so this one is inner try, then this one, and then this one. So innermost try will be executed first, then outer, and then outermost. So each time the try statement is entered, the context of that exception is pushed on the stack. So whenever try statement is entered, so this is try outside. I'll call this as 1 for my simplicity. This is 2 and 3. So compiler will push this try in this stack, then another try, and then third try. So while executing, innermost try is popped and executed first, then outer, and then outermost. So if an inner try statement does not have a catch handler for a particular exception, the stack is unbound and the next try statement catch handler are inspected for the match. It is not compulsory that for every try there is a catch statement. So this is a catch for inner try, this is a catch for outer, and this is for outermost. So if here we throw one exception 1, which is not matching with the type of this catch block. So what compiler will do? It will check whether the outer try has this matching catch statement. If yes, it will get executed. Otherwise, it will check for outermost try. If that exception, type of this exception is matching with this catch exception, then this catch block gets executed. So matching of exception with the catch block is from innermost to outermost. So if inner try catch statement does not have a catch handler for a particular exception, the stack is unowned and the next try statement's catch handler are inspected for a match. So this will continue until one of the catch statements succeeds, till you get the perfect match. Match with the exception type which is thrown and the exception which is mentioned in the catch block. So, or until all the nested try statements are exhausted. If you didn't found a match, then it will be handled by Java runtime environment and your program will halt in between. If no catch statement matches, the Java runtime system will handle the exception. So I was talking about this example. The same example we have seen for multiple catch blocks. Here it is for nested try block. Let me delete this code. So here, what will be the output of this code? What will be the output of this code? Is it visible? Value of A is 1. 42 divided by A will not cause any exception. So will it print this line system.out.println A is equal to plus A? Will this line get executed?
Yes.
So it will print A is equal to 1. Then it will enter into the try block. If A is equal to 1, A is equal to A divided by A minus A. So A minus A will cause division by 0 exception. So from this line, control will search for catch block. So this catch block is not matching because this is for array index out of bound in a try, for this try. So it will check whether the outer try has arithmetic exception. Yes. So it will execute this line divide by 0 and your program will stop. If value of A is 2, what will be the output? If value of A is 2, this line will get executed. It will print whatever the value of A is, that is 2. A is not 2, so it will search in this A. A is equal to 2. So this line will cause index out of bound exception. It will match with this catch block and it will print array index out of bound. Note that only one catch is matched at a time. It is not like a function. So you control is transferred to that function. Function gets executed and you will come back to the calling function. This is not like that. It is like when exception is thrown, you are out of the try block. You will never enter into the try block again. And if value of A is 0, then what will happen? If this value is 0, will it print this line? This line was divided by 0 exception and it is outer try block. So we have this arithmetic exception here. It will print divide by 0 and your program will stop. It will not enter here. So initially value of A is 0 and we'll check how it executes. The A is initialized to 0. Now note that this line has caused the exception, but still next arithmetic exception is caused and it is created an exception object and it has thrown. And next button is still enabled. It was not enabled when we have seen null pointer exception. Our program has halted in between. Here, why? Because this statement is in try block. So we have handled this exception. We have provided a catch block. So it will execute this catch block and print divide by 0. This line is divide by 0, which we have written. And what it has printed? Java arithmetic exception divide by 0. This is because of this small e. This small e is exception object. It is returning a string. So this is a Java runtime environment, what it returns from stack. Java.lang arithmetic exception divided by 0. If value of A is 1, so this line is executed. Value of B is 42. It has not caused any exception. So next line is getting executed. It will print A is equal to 1 and we will enter into the next try. Here if A is equal to 1, this will cause A is equal to A slash 0. A divided by 0 and divided by 0 exception. So exception is generated, Java lang arithmetic exception divided by 0. But as we have handled it, so next button is enabled. Note that for this try, innermost try, it has matched outer catch block. And print divided by 0. And it comes successfully, program is ended. If we change this value to 2, so there is no exception for this line, but if A is equal to 2, this line will cause array index out of bound exception, and it will match with this catch block, and it will print that particular message. The only difference is in nested try, it is not compulsory that all catch blocks should be written only for in or it should get repeated. You can divide catch blocks between these nested try blocks. Any one will get executed which type will match with the type of exception. This example is clear. Have you got how nested try blocks executes?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about throw keyword. The throw keyword in Java is used to explicitly throw an exception. Now for this example also we have not used throw keyword. Even for this previous example we have not used throw keyword, but still exception was thrown by the system and exception handler executed successfully. But we can use throw keyword for explicitly throwing an exception. And it is normally when we provide our own exception handler, that is custom exception. In that case, it is compulsory to use throw keyword. We can throw either checked or unchecked exceptions. Now, what is checked and unchecked exceptions? We have seen in previous session. Checked exceptions which are checked at compile time, and unchecked exceptions which are checked at runtime. So we can throw any type of exception using throw keyword. It is mainly used to throw custom exceptions, and the general form is throw, which is a keyword, and throwable instance means instance of a class or object of a class which is either derived from exception class or exception itself. The throwable instance must be an object of type throwable or a subclass of throwable, that is exception class. So there are two ways you can obtain a throwable object: using the parameters in catch clause or creating one with a new operator. So the flow of execution stops immediately after throw statement. Any subsequent statements are not executed. The statements which are after throw keyword will not get executed. The nearest enclosing, nearest means closest, enclosing try block is inspected to see if it
Excuse
has
me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, we are only able to see a black screen.
Okay. Stop sharing. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
You need to pin the screen. So if you use throw statement, so nearest enclosing try block is inspected to see if it has a catch statement that matches with the type of exception. If it finds a match, control is transferred to that statement which is in the catch block. If you didn't have matching catch block, then the next enclosing try statement is inspected, and so on. So from innermost, it will try to find out nearmost catch statement which is matching with the type of exception. If no matching catch is found, then the default exception handler halts the program and prints the stack trace. So I'll show you this demo. Only using throw doesn't mean that you are handling the exception. You can handle the exception only when you use try and catch block. So this is a class test throw one. It has a method, static method, validate integer age. If age is less than 18, it will throw new arithmetic exception not valid, else welcome. Note that here we have used throw keyword, but we haven't used try and catch block. Okay. Now in main, I want to call this function. So suppose I'm not providing try block. This is normal main, and here I'm calling validate 13. What will be the output? Will this line execute rest of the code? Screen is visible, right? So your program will start executing from this line validate 13. It will call this validate function from this class. Okay, I have to write main in the class itself. Otherwise, I need an object or class name to call validate function. This class has a validate method and main method. From main, I'm calling validate method. So this will call this method age is less than 18. So it will throw new arithmetic exception not valid. And this line will not get executed. So execution started from main. Validate 13, this function is getting called. If age is less than 18, yes, value of age is 13, it is less than 18. To throw new arithmetic exception. This will throw an exception not valid. You can see here java.lang arithmetic exception not valid, the string that we have passed. But now we didn't provide a try and catch. So this is handled by Java runtime environment, and next button is not enabled here. The program is halted in between. To handle this exception, what I have to do? I have to either write try catch here or here. I'm providing it here, try, main, and here catch block. And now what should I write in a catch block? Arithmetic exception. Object E. And here and print a line. Now not equal to 1. So now what will happen? Validate 13, this function will be called. Here it will throw arithmetic exception. Now it will search for try block and catch block matching with this arithmetic exception. It will execute this line and it will execute this line and program will terminate successfully. Exception is still there. We cannot do anything about the exception, but we can handle this exception properly. So this exception is there. And we have try block. So next step, next button was enabled. This catch block is getting executed. It will print not able to quote and then the rest of the code and terminated successfully. So here we have seen three keywords: try, catch, and throw. Now here suppose this statement is throwing an exception, but this is not cached here. Main is catching this exception. So here we can say that I am introducing you with another keyword, throws. Throws arithmetic exception. So this is a warning to a compiler that this function may throw an exception of type arithmetic exception. So whenever you want to call this function, you have to make sure that you have to provide try and catch block. Whenever you want, you will call a validate statement or validate function, you have to provide try and catch block because it may throw arithmetic exception. Throws. So this is a throws keyword which follows the list of exceptions that particular function may throw. Now in this case it is throwing only one type of exception, but if it is throwing multiple type of exception, we have to list them by comma separated list. Those arithmetic exception, comma null pointer exception, comma array index out of bound exception, like this. The throws keyword can be followed by number of exceptions or objects, type of objects or type of exception that that particular function may throw. We come to throws keyword afterwards, but for now, just note down that only writing throw keyword doesn't mean that you are handling an exception. To handle the exception, you have to provide try and catch block. So this is another example of throw. You can throw inbuilt exceptions like null pointer exception, or here we have provided arithmetic exception, which is also inbuilt exception. And if you are throwing this exception, it will be cached by this catch block and it will print caught inside a demo program, this procedure. And if you throw it again, this is called rethrow from the catch block. This is very interesting. From a catch block, you are throwing it again. So who will catch this? It will be catched by this outer catch block. This is called recaught. I want to show you this also. It's also interesting. It is called rethrow. I'm very sorry, it is very difficult to switch between the windows on this Linux machines from college. Let's see here. In a class, we have demo procedure function, and in try block, just it's a throw function or throw keyword. It's throwing new null pointer exception something, and a catch block which will catch this null pointer exception, and it will print caught inside demo procedure. And in catch block, this is a catch block. And right here. Will understand. So in this catch block, we are throwing that exception again. So this is called rethrow. So this procedure ends here. So who will catch this exception? Whenever there is a throw, we should have try and catch. But note that it will not transfer this try E or throw here, it will throw it from where we call this function. So we call this function from main. So in main we have try catch block. Here we call this function demo procedure. And again, note that this try also has a catch block, null pointer exception. And it will caught here. This is called recaught. It's like passing parcel. You will pass, means demo procedure will pass it to main and then main will execute it. The execution is started from main. In try block, you're calling a demo procedure function. So in demo procedure, you purposely thrown this exception, throw new null pointer exception. So it will be cached by this catch block. So exception is there. That's why you can see those two red lines, means normal flow of execution has stopped and exception handler take over, and exception handling mechanism is now executing. The next line will execute catch block, matching with this null pointer exception E. It will print system.out.println caught inside demo procedure function, and we'll throw it again. What is E? E is java.lang.null pointer exception instance. So E is object of type null pointer exception, and that we are throwing it again. So this is another throw, a rethrow of the same object. This is possible. You can throw it only if you have another try to catch it. So this will be cached by this catch, from where that function was called. Null pointer exception E, and it will print recaught. Any queries about this? Throwing 2 times. You need to execute this code, type this code and execute it and check how it is getting executed. So many of Java inbuilt runtime exceptions have at least 2 constructors, one with no parameter, like whenever you write throw, it should be followed by new keyword and type of exception. And that type of exception means after new you are creating an object. The object with bracket or with parameter or without parameter. So one with no parameter and one with a parameter which takes string as a parameter. For example, here we have created null pointer exception and we have passed a string demo. Note that this will get appended to the default string. For example, this is a default string java.lang.nullPointer exception. We have not written it anywhere, but automatically whenever we write E here in catch block, caught inside demo procedure and recaught plus E. So this object already has a string variable and that is a stack trace, and it will append this demo. Whatever we pass here, that will be appended to the previous string. So it takes 2 parameters, one with parameter and one with string as a parameter. For example, in this case, we have passed this string not valid, new arithmetic exception not valid. So when the second form is used, that when we are passing a parameter as a string, the argument specifies a string that describes the exception. This string is displayed when the object is used as an argument to print or println. So here in system.out.println, whenever you, here we are not printing e dot whatever the name of variable is, we are directly printing e. E is an object, but that object will return the string that you have passed. So it will print this string. Then throws keyword. The Java throws keyword is used to declare an exception. It is used to declare an exception. It gives an information to the programmer that there may occur an exception. So it is better for a programmer to provide exception handling code so that normal flow can be maintained. So if you are using a class which is written by me, I have written a class for one project, and that class contains multiple functions, and a function may cause an exception. So here for that particular function, I have written that function f1 throws this type of exception, my exception 1, my exception 2. So as a programmer, you are familiar, you know that if you want to call that particular function, you have to write try and catch block, and in catch block you have to mention catch my exception e1, my exception e2, etc. So which type of exception that particular function is throwing, that is also mentioned with the throws keyword. So it is the information to a programmer. It is not for a compiler, it is for a programmer that there may occur an exception. So it is better for a programmer to provide exception handling code so that normal flow is maintained. Throws keyword is used in the signature of a method. Whenever you declare a method, you have to provide the exception. So it indicates that this method might throw one of the listed type of exception, not all at a time, or it may not throw any exception, but it may, depending upon the input, it may throw any type of this exception which are listed here. The caller to these methods has to handle the exception using try catch block. So throws cause list the types of exception that might throw. It must list only checked exceptions. So this is a restriction. Throws should list down the exceptions which are checked exceptions, because unchecked exceptions are under our control. So it cannot be corrected at compile time. Errors are beyond our control. That is, we are unable to do anything if it occur virtual machine error or stack overflow error or memory errors. So this is the general form of declaration. Our method name, type say void, integer, etc. Method name, whatever the method name is. List of parameters, like validate was the method name, parameter was integer age, throws, and list of exceptions. For example, here, this method is throw1, which throws illegal access exception. It is printing something inside throw1, and it is throw new illegal access exception demo. So in main, if I want to call this throw1 function, I know that it may cause this exception. So I have to write in catch block illegal access exception E and caught E. So program will start executing from this line. It will call throw1 function. It will print this line inside throw1. This is the output, and it will throw new illegal access exception. It will create object of new illegal access exception with string demo, and it is catched with this catch block. It will print caught. First it will print caught, then this E stack stress java.lang.illegal access exception, and this line demo or string that we pass to this exception. Compare throw and throws keyword. So what is throw? Throw is used to throw an exception explicitly. It is throwing an exception. And throws keyword, it is just a declaration of exception. Means this method may throw this type of exception. Throw keyword is followed by instance of throwable class or its subclass. So throw is followed by new. You have to create an instance or directly the instance of throwable class or subclass. Throws keyword is followed by list of exception names separated by comma. Throw keyword is declared inside method body. It is inside a method body. May or may not be inside a try block. Throws keyword is used in a method signature, that is declaration of a method. We cannot throw multiple exceptions using throw keyword. Note that throw is followed by only one instance. Only one exception can be thrown at a time. To throw multiple exceptions, we have to use multiple throw keywords. But we can declare multiple exceptions separated by commas using close keyword. And we already discussed about finally keyword. Finally creates a block of code that will be executed after a try catch block has completed and before the code follows try catch block. So after image finally will get executed whether exception is thrown or not, exception is generated or not. By default, it will code will enter into the finally block and then rest of the code. Finally block will execute whether or not exception is thrown. It is exception if exception is thrown, finally block will execute even if no catch is matched with the exception. The finally clause is optional. However, every try statement requires at least one catch or finally clause. So note that you can exclude catch blocks. You can exclude finally blocks. Try should be followed by either a finally block or catch block. Try should, here we have seen the example try followed by catch. Finally was not there. Finally was optional. But if you didn't have any catch block, you can just specify finally block. Try is followed by finally. That is also accepted. We'll stop here. In next lecture, we'll see how to create our own exceptions. This is the example of finally. You can check this. So test finally block. Here, this will lead to exception. So it will execute system.out.println e, and finally block is always execute. Whether you divide it by 0 or not, it will enter into the catch block, then finally, or it will skip catch block and then finally, and then rest of the code. So this is how syntax is there. Immediately try should be followed by catch block. If catch block is not there, you should have a finally block, or finally block can be optional. Next lecture we'll see different built-in exceptions as well as how to create our own exception, that is custom exceptions.